Poland is one of the most misunderstood countries in Europe. Ask people outside the country what they know about Polish people, and the answers are often strange. Some say Polish people drink vodka all day. Others think the country is still stuck in the 1990s. Some believe everyone is deeply religious, serious, and impossible to talk to. But here's the surprising part. Most of these ideas are completely wrong, and some of them exist because of history, politics, and outdated stereotypes that never caught up with modern Poland. So today the goal is simple: to break down the biggest myths about Polish people. Where they came from, why they spread, and what the reality actually looks like today. Because once those myths start to fall apart, a very different picture of Poland appears. And the first myth might be the most famous one of all. The stereotype goes something like this. Polish people wake up, drink vodka, go to work, drink more vodka, and celebrate everything with vodka. It's one of the most persistent cultural cliches about Poland. And yes, vodka is part of Polish tradition. Historically, Poland has produced some of the world's most famous vodkas, including Żubrówka and Belvedere. Vodka has been distilled in the region for centuries. In fact, written records mention vodka production in Poland as early as the 15th century. But here's what the stereotype misses. Modern drinking habits in Poland look very similar to the rest of Europe. Beer is actually the most commonly consumed alcohol today. Wine culture has also grown significantly in the last decade, and younger generations increasingly choose non-alcoholic drinks, craft beverages, or simply drinking less overall. So why did the stereotype stick? Part of the answer comes from the Cold War era. Western media often portrayed Eastern European countries through a narrow lens: heavy drinking, grey cities, and economic hardship. Those images stuck in pop culture long after reality changed. But the truth is simple. Vodka is part of Polish culture, not a definition of Polish people. And the next myth is even more surprising. Visitors often notice something immediately when arriving in Poland. On the street, in public transport, or in shops, people don't constantly smile. For some outsiders, this feels strange. In countries like the United States, smiling at strangers is common social behavior. But in Poland, smiling usually has meaning. A smile is often reserved for genuine moments, friends, humor, or real conversation. In other words, it's not automatic politeness. It's authentic emotion. That difference in social norms has created the stereotype that Polish people are cold or unfriendly. But the experience of many visitors quickly proves the opposite. Because once conversations begin, especially in social settings, something interesting happens. Polish hospitality becomes obvious. Guests are often welcomed with food, drinks, long conversations, and sometimes an entire table filled with traditional dishes. Meals can stretch for hours, and suddenly the serious stereotype disappears. Instead, what appears is something different: directness, honesty, and warmth once trust is built. In fact, many foreigners say the same thing after spending time in Poland. People may seem reserved at first, but incredibly welcoming once the ice breaks. And speaking of outdated perceptions, the next myth might be the most damaging one. This stereotype often surprises people who have actually visited the country, because modern cities like Warsaw, Kraków, and Wrocław tell a completely different story. Glass skyscrapers, thriving tech industries, modern transport systems, international companies. So where did the poor Poland stereotype come from? The answer lies in history. After World War II, Poland fell under Soviet influence and spent decades within the communist economic system. That period slowed development compared with Western Europe. But everything changed after 1989. Poland transitioned to a market economy, joined NATO in 1999, and later joined the European Union in 2004. The result? one of the fastest economic growth stories in Europe. Poland avoided recession during the 2008 financial crisis, something very few European countries achieved. Today, the country has become a major center for technology, manufacturing, logistics, and international business services. Cities that once struggled economically are now hubs for startups, universities, and global companies. And many people who visit Poland for the first time say the same thing. The country feels far more modern and dynamic than expected, but stereotypes about Poland don't stop with economics. Food is another topic where misconceptions run deep. Ask someone unfamiliar with Polish cuisine what people eat in Poland. The answer is usually something like potatoes, cabbage, maybe sausage. But Polish cuisine is far more complex and historically rich than that. Take pierogi, for example. These dumplings can be filled with dozens of ingredients, from potatoes and cheese to mushrooms, meat, spinach, or sweet fruit. Or consider bigos, a slow-cooked dish combining different meats, sauerkraut, spices, and sometimes wine, simmered for hours to develop deep flavor. Then there's żurek, a fermented rye soup often served with sausage and eggs. And that's just the beginning. Polish cuisine reflects centuries of cultural influences, Central European traditions, Jewish culinary heritage, Lithuanian and Ukrainian influences, royal court cuisine from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Historically, Poland sat at the crossroads of trade routes across Europe. That meant spices, techniques, and ingredients from many cultures shaped local cooking. Today, Polish food culture is also evolving. Modern restaurants reinterpret traditional recipes with new techniques, creating a mix of heritage and innovation, which leads to another stereotype often discussed internationally: religion. Poland is often described as one of Europe's most religious countries, and historically, there is truth behind that. The Catholic Church has played a major role in Polish history, identity, and resistance movements. One of the most influential figures connected to Poland was Pope John Paul II. During the communist era, his visits to Poland became powerful moments of national unity and hope. Religion also served as a cultural anchor during periods when the country disappeared from the map, especially during the partitions of Poland. But modern Poland is far more diverse in belief than many stereotypes suggest. Younger generations often approach religion differently. Some remain deeply connected to faith, others identify as spiritual, but not religious. And many simply see religion as one cultural tradition among many. Urban areas in particular have become more secular over time. So the idea that every Polish person thinks the same way about religion simply doesn't reflect reality. Polish society today contains a wide range of views, just like any other modern European country. And finally, there is one myth that people around the world love to repeat: the language. There's a common joke among foreigners trying to pronounce Polish words. They look at a word like szczęście, pause for several seconds, and give up. Polish belongs to the Slavic languages family, which means it has grammatical structures very different from English. Cases, complex consonant clusters, gendered nouns. For English speakers, it can feel intimidating at first, but impossible is a myth. Millions of people learn Polish every year, including students, immigrants, and international workers living in Poland. And interestingly, many Polish people speak excellent English. Poland consistently ranks among the top countries in Europe for English proficiency. So while Polish might look complicated on paper, communication rarely becomes a barrier for visitors, and for those who do try learning the language. Something unexpected often happens. Even small attempts at speaking Polish are usually met with enthusiasm and appreciation, which says something important about Polish culture itself. Effort matters. So why do these stereotypes about Polish people exist in the first place? The answer is simple. Many of them come from outdated historical snapshots. images from the Cold War, old jokes repeated in international media, or assumptions formed by people who have never actually visited Poland. But countries change, societies evolve, and modern Poland has transformed dramatically in the last 3 decades. Economically, culturally, socially. Which means the old stereotypes no longer match the reality. And sometimes the best way to understand a place is simply to experience it. But now the question turns to the audience. Which stereotype about Polish people is the most inaccurate? And which one still appears the most often internationally? Share thoughts in the comments. Reading those perspectives is always interesting. If this video helped uncover something new about Poland, consider liking the video and subscribing to The Poland for more stories about Polish history, culture, and surprising facts that rarely get discussed. And as always, there's always more to discover about Poland than the stereotypes suggest.